Hello and welcome to Play Digital. Today I'm looking at the demo for Dark Messiah of Might and Magic Elements, the new 360 version of the PC game from October '06. For those who aren't familiar with the story, you play as Sareth, trained in fighting and magic by the wizard Fenrig. In a typical role-playing fantasy adventure kind of way, you're sent on a bunch of artifact retrieval quests which inevitably go wrong, leading to disastrous consequences. You'll also have the consciousness of the pseudo-sexy sorceress Xana placed in your mind to guide you through the game. Suffice it to say, your relationships with your mentors are somewhat tricky. For the 360 version, 4 new levels have been added to the single player, including the tutorial that makes up much of the demo, which was thankfully guided by coolly arch, if hammy, Fenrig, rather than Xana, whose voice and dialogue had all the subtle seductiveness of badly produced porn. The port seems to have been done well, the frame rate is steady and the game runs without glitches, but the visuals, while not bad, feel a little dated, especially with games like Assassin's Creed hitting the shelves last quarter. There are also a few little annoying things about the design, such as the elaborate flourish noise made every time you produce your melee weapon really not matching the graphic. The mapping to the Xbox controller is generally very good, and this kind of gameplay suits the console well. The auto-lock, which has been added, also helps without being intrusive, making for slightly smoother combat. There are a few issues though. Because you need the A button for interacting, the jump has been mapped to Y, which takes a little getting used to, especially in the heat of combat. Also, while being able to hotkey items using the D-pad is great, you only have 8 slots, which will probably mean you'll be jumping in and out of the full inventory fairly frequently once you've gone up a few levels, particularly if you're a magic user. That said, while there have been complaints about the right bumper D-pad combination for slots 5 to 8, I found it pretty user-friendly. The inventory system is nicely organised and easy to use, although when you pick up new items, make sure the text matches the item before equipping or hotkeying it, as I hit one glitch where the text got stuck and I ended up equipping the wrong item. Another difference is that instead of levelling up with a skill tree that lets you choose your path through the game as you did in the PC version, you choose one of 4 character classes and level up entirely linearly as warrior, archer, mage or assassin. In the demo, you're able to try warrior and mage classes. In general, it seemed a good compromise between different gameplay experience and play balance. Undead were a lot easier to defeat with my mage, but while he took a good few mana top-ups to defeat the big-ass spider at the end of the level, my fighter took him out in 2 hits. That said, any real assessment of play balance will have to wait until the full game is released. Certain weapons you come across are class-specific, but you are able to add non-usable weapons to your collection screen to keep the completists happy. In the demo level, the only real difference between the classes throughout the game was in combat, and even playing the mage, there was still a heavy physical emphasis. The rope bow is your friend, regardless of class. As are your booted feet. Don't forget, this is the game 1-up dubbed as The Adventures of Sir Kixalot Deathboot in the Land of Conspicuously Placed Spike Racks. And the core pros and cons of the game are largely the same as they were on the PC. I quite like the interactivity of the setting and being able to boot enemies into spikes or throw boxes or corpses around, but it does get repetitive. I also think that describing this as an RPG, even an action RPG, is a little misleading. This is high fantasy FPS with a few RPG elements thrown in. Serious role players are really unlikely to appreciate the linearity of this game and the lack of any, well, role-playing. You do get a few choices towards the back end of the game, but this is certainly no Mass Effect. And the story was never great, but that said, the pacing and the combat are very accessible and work really well on the console in a sort of Deus Ex hack and slash and grab kind of way. It's fun, but it's not likely to feel fresh for very long. If you didn't play this through the first time around and you're into the genre, then it looks like it'll probably be worth at least a rental when it comes out in early February. But if you're a fan of the PC game, there's not really any reason to play this through again on the 360. Although the multiplayer has changed somewhat, with fewer players, different maps and a faster pace, so you might want to check that out, at least in the demo. Thanks for watching and see you next time.